It's here first from IPR. I'm Megan McKinney. In today's episode, what an appeals court said about overturning a federal injunction that's been blocking an Iowa law that bans books with sexual content in school libraries. And later in the episode, taking an in-depth look at a proposal in the Iowa legislature that would create more limits for people working under H-1B visas. It's Tuesday, April 7th. An appeals court has overturned the federal injunction that blocked Iowa's law banning books with sexual content in school libraries. Here are more details from IPR's Grant Gerlach.
Injunctions in separate lawsuits blocked the library book restrictions and two other parts of the law. Those include a ban on lessons in K-6 classes related to gender identity and sexual orientation, and a requirement to inform parents about gender identity accommodations requested by a student. The Eighth Circuit Court of Appeals has now thrown out those injunctions, opening the way for enforcement. Attorney General Brenna Bird praised the rulings and says the law keeps schools safe for children. Attorneys opposing the law say they'll keep up the legal fight. They say the lawsuits have forced some changes. For instance, the state now says the ban on LGBTQ topics in early grades only applies to mandatory instruction, not extracurriculars like school clubs. I'm Grant Gerlach, IPR News.
The mayor of Palo says the city never had side conversations with Google about annexing land for a data center project before Linn County knew about it. Here's more details from IPR's James Kelly.
A recent KCRG report states the city approved an agreement in December for Google to reimburse the city for something called Project Meridian. A different invoice from January talks about a Google annexation project. IPR News has not independently verified these claims, but the mayor of Palo, Brian Bush, says Google approached city officials in late January about its plans to build the data center on land annexed into the city.
There was no conversation whatsoever about Palo trying to go out and secretly annex this property or go behind Linn County's back or anything like that. But when they came to us and gave us that opportunity, it makes sense, right, to listen.
Bush says the city will make every effort to be as open and transparent as possible as it drafts an ordinance regulating data center development. I'm James Kelly, IPR News.
A U.S. Department of Energy expert says building a first-of-its-kind small modular nuclear reactor in Iowa would likely cost around $4 billion and take up to 5 years to build. Michelle Zeitlo-Miller, the former director of maintenance at the Quad Cities Power Station, presented to Governor Reynolds' Nuclear Energy Task Force yesterday. Zeitlo says federal tax credits can significantly reduce the cost once the plant is operating, but state investment tax credits claimed while the reactor is being built can make such projects possible.
It's also a leverage point for states to work together, right? So if you want to work with your neighboring states and think about a technology that makes sense for you, you can build an order book based on that. Now, I haven't seen states do that, but I'd like to.
The presentation indicates it's likely a developer will line up financing and build one of these small-scale nuclear reactors, and a utility will take ownership once the plant is ready to operate. Zeitlo-Miller says it's likely around 1,600 full-time employees would be required to operate this type of facility. The Iowa Senate has passed a bill unanimously that aims to ensure parents aren't accused of child abuse because they're unable to find mental health treatment for their kids. It would create an exemption that says if a parent can't access behavioral health care for their child after making reasonable attempts, the state can't consider that to be child abuse or neglect. Republican Senator Kevin Alonzo of Salix says this is a balanced and practical approach.
I personally know Iowa families who have done everything possible for their child's serious behavioral health needs, yet still face having their careers and families jeopardized because treatment simply isn't available. HF 2256, as amended, addresses that unfair situation while fully protecting children.
The bill now goes back to the House for consideration. It's here first from IPR. I'm Megan McKinney. Stay with us in just a moment, taking a look at that bill that creates more limits on H-1B visas. Welcome back. It's here first from IPR. I'm Megan McKinney. The Trump administration is making changes to a visa program that brings skilled foreign workers into the country. The White House says it wants to protect American workers. In the Iowa State House, some Republicans are backing a bill that would put another set of limits on H-1B visas. IPR's Isabella Liu reports it's for another reason, to protect national security, but others question if it will make Iowa less competitive.
On a sweltering Saturday afternoon in March, more than 100 people gather outside the state capitol in Des Moines. Many in the crowd hold signs saying things like "More than a visa" and "Strong University, Strong Iowa." Amidst the heat, university employees and community members speak to the crowd.
Let us protect both our security and our values. Let us keep Iowa open, welcoming, and strong. Thank you.
Some speakers are researchers, other scientists or designers, but many share one thing in common. An H-1B visa allowed them to get a job at an Iowa college. And they're asking lawmakers to stop a bill threatening the same career path they took. The proposal would prevent Iowa colleges and universities from hiring H-1B visa holders from countries considered foreign adversaries or state sponsors of terrorism. This includes countries like China, Russia, and Iran.
We bring a lot of value to Iowa. You don't want to throw that away for some imaginary reasons.
Zhengyuan Zhu is one of the organizers of the rally. He's originally from China. Zhu got an H-1B visa when he got his first job as a professor before later switching to a more permanent status. Now he's the director of a research center at Iowa State that compiles land data used by the USDA. Zhu says the center mostly employs Iowans, but for some roles requiring PhDs, they've had to look internationally. He says he speaks for himself and not his employer.
It's clear that it's going to restrict us, the higher education institutions like universities, private and public, from hiring the best talent to do the job.
The H-1B program is meant to help employers find workers with skills that can't be found in the U.S. workforce in fields like science or healthcare. It's a non-immigrant temporary work visa, but it can also be a stepping stone to more permanent statuses. The bill would stop higher education institutions from entering employment contracts with visa holders from targeted countries starting July 1st. Lawmakers say it would apply to future contracts. It's unclear whether it would also impact people renewing their contracts or visas. GOP lawmakers like Republican Representative Skylar Wheeler of Hull say the Iowa bill will protect sensitive research and guard against foreign influence.
Do you really believe that we should have individuals from Russia or Iran influencing future voters in this country? I do not.
But Democrats say the program hasn't caused any problems so far. They say the bill could make it harder for colleges to fill research and teaching positions. Democratic Senator Thomas Townsend of Dubuque claims it could cause legal trouble for institutions.
I just feel like it's a discriminative practice to not allow the universities to hire them, and feel like that's going to open up the regents and other universities to possible lawsuits for discrimination of country of origin.
Currently, Iowa's public universities have 117 H-1B visa holders from the countries targeted in the bill. The vast majority are from China. Peter Erasm is an economics professor at Iowa State University. He says Iowa's economy has been lagging for the past decade, and a hiring ban could hamper innovation and research in areas that could improve Iowa's economy.
It's sort of hard to say what innovations wouldn't happen. I think the innovations would happen, they just won't happen in Iowa.
The bill passed the House largely along party lines last month, but it still has to be passed by the Senate and signed by the governor to become law. Zhu, the researcher from Ames, says while living here for almost 20 years, he's personally experienced Iowa Nights in his local community. He says the bill could go against those welcoming efforts.
We shouldn't equate country, where you come from, with the person, right? Every person are their individuals. That's our American value. We shouldn't judge people by where they come from.
Those who came over on H-1B visas and switched to more permanent statuses can continue working in the state. But for those hoping to follow a similar path, the way remains unclear for now. I'm Isabella Liu, IPR News.
And I'm Megan McKinney. Great reporting from Isabella Liu. It's Here First from IPR. I'm Megan McKinney. Glad to be back with you on this Tuesday. Hope you have a great day.